So thanks everyone for introducing yourselves. These are great to see. Love seeing your answers about what home means to you. So if you just joined, we're just popping in the chat some intros, how you're connected to AsiaTown and what does home mean to you. So first, I just want to kick it off with an introduction and an overview of tonight. Hi, everyone. My name is Clair Superior. I'm the AsiaTown project manager with Midtown Cleveland, and we're really excited to unveil a little bit of the vision that we've been working on over the past few months that we've been able to incorporate so many of your voices into. So thank you so much for taking the time to be on here with us tonight. Again, we are recording this meeting so that we can make sure that it's translated and shared to be as accessible as possible for our community. Just a few intentions for tonight. We're hoping to share, as we share out the vision, we're hoping that people feel that their voices were heard, so that they see their stories and voices represented through this Imagine AsiaTown process. We're hoping that this vision can, people can feel connected to this emerging vision, and that we are presenting a couple of actions that can then be looked at through this lens in an ongoing way. And that will kind of empower people to be involved with Imagine AsiaTown in the future. And lastly, we're hoping as a goal that people feel connected. So I'm looking around this Zoom room and seeing so many awesome people, and I'm just so thrilled to see you all join us here on a Thursday evening. Thank you so much after what I'm sure is a long day of Zooms. So we're hoping that this can offer a little bit of connection for lots of different people who care about AsiaTown in lots of different ways. I'm pretty sure there will be lots of other opportunities to connect with each other and with the neighborhood in the future, but hoping this can be kind of a kickoff to that. So with that, thank you so much again for being here and for introducing yourselves. I'm going to turn it over to our team, Tessa, Argerie, and Lisa, who have been working on pulling all of your stories together into this vision, and let them share with you what we have.
Thank you so much for starting us off, Karis. I just want to check real quick if there's anyone on the call who needs interpretation. We do have Xinwan from the Midtown AsiaTown team, in case that's the need. And Shin, if you wanna ask the group in Mandarin, feel free.
如果您需要中文的话，你可以告诉我，可以帮您翻译。
All right. Well, feel free to message Shin if anyone does need interpretation. We can definitely switch gears. So our agenda today is pretty simple. We just have an hour together. So after a quick check-in, you're going to learn some of the main highlights from the Imagine AsiaTown visioning report. Then we'll get to experience using a new tool together that will help ensure that the future activities and initiatives in AsiaTown continue to stay aligned with this shared vision that we've built together. And then finally, Karis will close us out with some next steps. So if you just are joining, again, please introduce yourself in the chat with your name, your connection to the AsiaTown neighborhood, and what does home mean to you? However you'd like to respond to that question. We can go to the next slide just to give everyone a reminder of what our intentions were going on for the last several months. We wanted to identify a shared vision for the future of the AsiaTown neighborhood, do it in a way that engages residents and other community members who have a stake in the AsiaTown neighborhood. We intended to amplify the community's power to shape the future of AsiaTown, and do it all while building trust and relational skills in the community. So I had the honor of working on this process along with our consulting team, Lisa Hong and Argerie Vasilakes, and we were working in close collaboration with the Midtown staff and all of you through this whole process. So this process has really been about your voice, your vision, and your neighborhood. Next slide, please. So just to open up where we landed with our shared vision, we wanted to show this image, which is likely familiar to a lot of us on this call. Asians and other groups in the United States have been all too familiar with being on the receiving end of painful insults, go home, go back to your country. And we've definitely seen that in 2020. The stereotype of certain people, as well as people of Asian descent, as being perpetual foreigners, of not being real Americans, of not mattering and not belonging to this place. So this was kind of an undercurrent through the entire process. And as we went through over 100 different interviews and other ways to engage community members, we started to uncover the hopes and dreams and values of the community. And a new collective vision statement emerged, which we'll show on the next slide. The statement is, "We are growing home." So this is expressing an intention to dismantle stereotypes and reclaim the community's pride, belonging, and intention of making AsiaTown a thriving home for all people. So it's sort of a way to subvert this insult, this expression of racism, and kind of reclaim the term as we are growing home. So we are committing to make this place better. We are committing to create a home in all of the different ways that we know home is expressed. So many different things to many different people. As sharing or sharing your introduction.
Sorry to interrupt. I don't know if it's just me, but I think there's a little bit of an audio challenge. So,
I'm so sorry.
It's kind of like echoey. It's okay.
Is that better?
Yeah, much better. Thanks.
Sorry, it must have been an issue with my headphones. So I'll just recap again in case it was difficult to understand. We came up with this, or identified this shared vision statement. We are growing home. And in the next few slides, we'll be explaining all of the different interpretations of home, what we heard from the community about what home means to all of you. But it's really about, sort of subverting, transforming this feeling of not belonging and taking a stand and committing to growing AsiaTown into the future vision that we all want. Home can mean many different things to many different people. We heard that home means a place of care and hospitality. We heard that home is a place where everyone is welcome and supported, where everyone thrives, where prosperity flourishes, and a capacity and a longing to include everyone. Next slide, please. Just really quickly, how we engaged residents and community members. We did it through multiple modes of engagement. So there were lots of one-on-one and small group interviews that happened over the past few months. We had 2 separate online conversations that were interactive and used similar prompts and questions to the interviews. We had art submitted through the Imagine AsiaTown hashtag. And we also had art kits that people could use to create their own love letters to AsiaTown. So over the process, we heard from over 100 different people in the community, including over 35 residents, over 20 workers in the neighborhood, and over 10 business owners. Next slide, please. So connected to this idea of growing home were these really core underlying values that people shared through stories of the people and places that mattered most to them. And we heard from people in both English and Chinese over all of these different mediums. So first, I want to share some of those values, and these are not in any particular order. All of these values were highly resonating with people in AsiaTown and people connected to AsiaTown. So they're all kind of overlapping and interconnected with each of the other values. First is taking care of family, neighbors, and community. Next, we also heard an importance of connection with our heritage and history. We also heard about belonging being extremely important. The idea of prosperity emerged as another core value. Feeling seen was very important. And health, especially in the year 2020, health came out as something that was important to people. Another core value was respect towards our elders and our leaders. And last but not least, safety. So all of these values were interconnected, and they kind of serve to reinforce one another. In addition to those core values, we distilled this theme of growing home into 6 interconnected themes, which will be on the next slide. So I'm going to share each of these themes with you. Again, these are not ranked in a particular order. All of these themes were resonating deeply and broadly with the community. And each of them are kind of mutually interconnected. So one is not necessarily complete without the other 5 themes. So first I'll share AsiaTown is a beautiful neighborhood that reflects authentic Asian cultures. So not just about food or stereotypes. This is our home, where we belong and where we are seen and heard by all in the community around Cleveland and around the country. The next theme that we uncovered was AsiaTown is walkable and safe for people of all races. So again, this is sort of our aspirational, future vision that people really long to see happen in AsiaTown. Next was AsiaTown attracts and keeps residents of all different races, families who stay here to raise their kids, and young professionals who come here to live and play. The 4th theme was our businesses thrive, leading to prosperity for everyone. Small businesses, many of which are Asian owned, all contribute to a cherished sense of community. The next theme says, in our diverse neighborhood, an ethic of care strengthens bonds. People help people, families help families, neighbors help neighbors, and all needs are met. And finally, again, last but not least, everyone throughout the city and beyond knows AsiaTown as a welcoming place, a destination for visitors, and a place where immigrants can be at home. So just to illustrate the values and themes that I just shared on the screen, I want to share some of the things we specifically heard people say through this process. So I'd like to invite everyone to close your eyes and imagine AsiaTown together as I share the following quotes and voices from AsiaTown. So you can listen to notice the values and themes, listen to see what images come up for you as you close your eyes, and see these illustrations of a future AsiaTown that embodies this vision that the community says that they want.
不好意思，打断一下，想问一下，手机尾号3339的朋友需要中文吗？ Oh, sorry, Tessa, go ahead.
You're fine. Yeah, please stop me at any time if we need to pause for interpretation. All right, so as we're closing our eyes, I'm going to start sharing. I want AsiaTown to still be here in 100 years. I want a more clean and beautiful neighborhood with our cultural identity intact. I want AsiaTown to continue to represent the people and to elevate the importance of the community. I want more markets and delicious food, more people to be engaged within and outside of AsiaTown. I want the neighborhood to be bustling with successful businesses that are owned by Asians and other people. Businesses are more attractive and clean. AsiaTown will be welcoming to all. It will have more density, busyness and walkability. Businesses of all kinds will meet the needs of tourists and non-tourists. AsiaTown will feel like everyone can take part in the community and feel connected. People are helping each other out with a mutual aid system in place. People are still growing bitter melon vines in 100 years. It's a place where all Asian Americans can feel included. I want AsiaTown to be safe with more green community space for seniors and for young people to all enjoy. These things will help the community to grow and flourish. And the last story that I'll share, I hope people see us as part of America. We are no longer unwelcome foreigners. There will be no discrimination toward us. All races are families. AsiaTown is our people and our spirit. It is our AsiaTown story and culture. AsiaTown will be thriving. All right, everyone, thank you for closing your eyes and imagining with us. You can all come back to the room and open your eyes. We do have a quick poll that we want to share. Just to do a quick temperature check. We know that everything that I just shared came directly from what people in the community said, and there was a lot of just repeated themes, repeated statements and words and values that we heard. So we really hope that this resonates with the people on the call, but we want to do a quick check just to see how people are connecting and resonating with the overall vision and the 6 themes that are feeding into that vision. So if Argerie could launch the poll for us, we'll give you 30 seconds to just reflect on this question. Which parts of the shared vision resonate with you? Please select one or all or as many that apply in your opinion that resonate with you. And then we'll share the results. Thank you everyone for continuing to put your responses in. I see we have 12 responses already. Keep them coming. All right, 14 responses. Give a couple more seconds for anyone who wants to put their response in before we close. All right, I think we're ready to share. Great, so I'm glad to see that there are parts of the shared vision that are resonating with everyone here. And actually the highest one was everyone throughout the city and beyond knows AsiaTown as a welcoming place, a destination for visitors, and a place where immigrants can be at home. So thank you everyone for participating in that poll. I also want to invite people, now that you've seen the shared vision, all of the themes and values that feed into it, if you have any new or just reaffirmed thoughts about what home means to you, this is what we heard from over 100 people. This is what we heard home means to the community. But if there are additional reflections or anything you would change or add to what you shared at the beginning of this call, please share it in the chat. What does home mean to you? And we can go back to the slide presentation. So this is a really quick overview of the vision. The actual final report has, I think it's around 40 pages long. So we're not going to go into all of the detail that's in that report, but you will have the chance to look at the report on your own after this call. We included some of our recommendations to the AsiaTown community for how this vision can really guide and assist the community in making sure that vision is realized. So first, we have a vision and action compass that can help orient the community and create real accountability so that everything that happens, all the initiatives that are led either by residents or Midtown or other community partners, that there will be accountability to the vision and that there will be clarity as to how projects are fitting or not fitting with the vision. We also had a lot of recommendations to continue to build relationships in community because, as I said before, one of our intentions throughout this process has been to help build more relational and interpersonal skills and build connections and meaningful conversations between community members that weren't happening before. We also want to support collaborative, vision-inspired action that's really coming from the community and residents. So there's more distribution and sharing of power in the neighborhood. So please, after this call, feel free to read the report for more details. And I think I am passing it to Lisa for our next activity, which will dig into the vision and action compass, and you'll get an experience of what that tool is like.
Okay, hello everybody. So often, as you as you probably experienced, the themes are very general, and in vision documents and efforts, they're usually pretty general, and then they all sound familiar because it's like we did draw them from the stories in the community. So what we wanted to try to ensure was that the vision didn't remain just a wall poster or a web page with little follow through or action. I think that's a big fear of a lot of people when we go through these and take the time to participate in these vision processes. So we wanted to support an ongoing community efforts to bring the vision to life in tangible activities and projects. So we added to the major themes these more specific elements, and we're not going to read them all the way through here because you'll see that they're included in the tool that we'll be using in the breakout session. So we'll be going through the individual elements underneath each theme in the breakouts. But what I want to say about this compass tool, it provides a way that Midtown can learn and the community can orient projects to the 6 themes of the vision and keep each other inspired and accountable for living into it. So whenever ideas come up, it's like you sort of want to run it through this filter so you make sure, are we lining up, and is the idea as expansive as it can be? Because a lot of times new ideas will come up just because we're looking at it through a new filter. Next slide, please. So these you saw the first 3 themes and the second 3 themes with the elements underneath them. And next slide, please. So here's a snapshot of the actual compass tool. It's really a spreadsheet, but it gives on the left-hand side the themes and the elements, and then we use the next columns to really brainstorm and assess an individual project against the theme elements. So the compass can really be used to run a specific idea, to assess its fit with the vision. You can brainstorm to shape an idea through the vision, compare projects, and manage a portfolio of multiple projects that collectively fulfill the vision, because you may have one project that doesn't do so well on one of the elements, but another project that really shines on one of the elements. So together you can look at the portfolio of projects. It actually has the benefit of helping to reorient conversations from people advocating or even organizations advocating for one particular idea towards advocating for what best fulfills the vision as a whole. So it helps people to see other aspects of projects and ideas that might not be theirs, but that actually meet the vision as a whole. So they're willing to maybe combine their idea with somebody else's or even let go of their own idea. It's also designed to, like, we had a certain slice of people who participated in which these elements and themes came out of, but obviously we want people to continue to participate, to continue to share their stories. And as they do, the themes and the compass will adapt and change. So it's meant to evolve and not be static. Next slide, please. So we're going to break out into small groups for you to test drive the compass on an idea that surfaced recently to help residents and community members connect during the winter months, because that's usually a time when people are a little more isolated, particularly now, maybe doubly isolated because transportation and facilities even being open are a challenge. So the idea is a dumpling making competition. And this may seem like a simple idea, and most projects start, right, as a simple idea, but what can happen is out of a modest idea with a single intention, it can grow to have multiple benefits that, you know, one person might not likely have if they've tried to just imagine it alone. So we're going to use the tool to imagine together. And I think, Argerie, are you breaking us into small groups?
Ready when you are.
I think we're ready.
I couldn't see those who don't have your cameras up. You can put your number in the chat. All right. What I want to make clear here is that the 3 rooms, we're looking at different different parts of the vision and action activity. So we now have a vision and action completed for this whole idea. So imagine yourselves all as community advisors to the Midtown team, working with the Midtown team in order to evaluate the extent to which holding a dumpling making competition helps to promote all of these elements of the AsiaTown vision. So I'd like to ask the people from Lisa's group who looked at reflects authentic Asian cultures and attracts and keeps residents. Lisa, that was yours, right? Your group?
Yes, it was.
Do you have someone to talk about what you came up with, or will that be you?
You know what? We didn't name a spokesperson, but I'm guessing somebody who had a lot of ideas. Ray, would you like to share them with everybody else?
I'm more than happy to let you go through it.
I was going to say, I thought you were, okay. So,
tag team with you if you want.
Or would you be willing to do it? Right?
Yeah, yeah, sure, I'll go through it.
Okay.
So I guess we were the only team that went through the first section. Is that right? So all this is ours, right?
Yep.
So as it relates to the first section there, one of the things that we talked about is ensuring that I hope that's not me echoing. Am I echoing?
You're sounding fine. Maybe everyone else can mute while you're talking so there's no echo.
So one of the things that we talked about was ensuring that there is a goal for the competition. So I know that what we want to do is bring people out to actually collaborate and be connected during the winter months. But as an organization or as volunteers, what is it that we want to get out of this competition? So having that goal will actually then transcend us into these other sub-elements more fully. So from a line item perspective, culture and history reflected, ensuring that the various cultures are engaged. So we would need to actively go out and seek people from the different countries to get engaged. And of course, talk about the theme and why we want to do that, et cetera. The second thing is raise and spare, no money, no expense. Don't reinvent the wheel. And, maybe what we can do is actually incorporate this into the upcoming Chinese New Year festive period. With regards to how do we get folks engaged more, we want to include bios of the people that are in the competition and then have that be a part of the marketing strategy, which takes us to the next line item is how do we publicize and create visibility beyond AsiaTown if we want to bring folks from outside of AsiaTown into the fold as well, creating these bios and then publishing them and introducing these folks would kind of bring an overall, marketing theme or strategy around whatever that goal is that we want to accomplish. Recording interviews with entrants and other opportunities, et cetera. Going down to the attracting, keeping residents, we can even expand the dumpling exercise to be dumplings of all nationalities, not just Asian nationalities, and that brings in all the residents from the area. And with regards to demographics, maybe we do a competition that is by age group. So bringing in the younger folks as well as the older folks, the seniors, and maybe combining flavors or maybe even doing the most healthiest, category or something like that. And then how do we get seniors engaged? We potentially could have seniors be the judges so that they, feel engaged and can participate. So I think that's as far as we got, and then we got cut off like the award ceremony.
Ray, that was phenomenal. Ray and Lisa's team, phenomenal job. You can see here how going through these questions and testing them against these themes helps you to see how an idea actually meets the vision. Tessa, for your team, could you walk us through some of the insights that you came up with?
Yeah, I'm actually going to pass it to Jordan. who is willing to share for our group just one or two highlights. There was a lot of juicy stuff, but I know we're running short on time. So Jordan, if you want.
Okay, I will keep it. Hello, everyone. I'm Jordan. There's really great ideas, especially kind of this back and forth ideation between Felton and Jennifer, which really talked about engaging youth and youth from different cultures and races. Elders kind of showing like how to actually fold and prepare the dumpling. So kind of like this educational, how-to component, as well as, maybe having some sort of programming or that education in schools or in classes. Trying to think. We also discussed, having, and this kind of plays to what Ray mentioned earlier, having different dumpling stations of from different cultures in different locations to encourage walkability within AsiaTown. And I think that was everything. Tessa, feel free to jump in if I'm forgetting some things.
That's great. Yeah, if Argerie, if you could scroll up briefly just to see the notes from our walkable and safe discussion, or I'll just post them in the chat so people can read. But thank you, Jordan. Argerie, your group is last but not least.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much. That's phenomenal. Karis, I wonder if you would be willing to fly us through some of these great ideas on prosperity and a welcoming place.
Sure. Well, we were excited because we know that there are some dumplings that symbolize prosperity. So we thought that this was kind of a connected pretty well. But we also were thinking about how this could be a competition between businesses. It could feature different businesses. A lot of different businesses have different specialties and people, or they could sponsor. And we also talked about how like every part of the process, like if it's the community making dumplings to restaurants could share their recipes and where they get them from, like Good Harvest or Asia Food Company, some of the different grocery stores to kind of highlight our local businesses. And then for welcoming place, and we also had a great conversation about how it could be a chance for a new pop-up business in the neighborhood too. For a welcoming place, we were talking about this, I think similar to some things other people have said, is that people seeing their, we connect through food, and so being able to see a cultural item or food item and that their culture is being seen can help people feel welcome.
That's terrific. Thank you so much, Karis, and thank you, everyone. You could see how the Vision in Action tool offers the possibility of evaluating one or many projects across some very specific elements that describe the AsiaTown vision. I'm curious to hear from you what, if anything, has surprised you about what you heard or about this process of the Vision in Action tool? What is surprising? And just think about it for a second and then turn to the chat and then type, what has surprised you in this experience and of the tool? And for anybody who wants to speak up and say more about what you're writing in the chat.
安娜姐姐还有普英姐姐，如果你们需要中文的话，请告诉我哦。
Thank you, Ray, for saying it's a great brainstorming tool. What has surprised you? So please continue to respond to as you consider what surprised you, and accept our appreciation again for really piloting this tool, very customized and specific to the voices that spoke up against what's important around AsiaTown. we're going to turn to another poll, and for that, I will ask Tessa to come back.
Thanks. So there's another slide that I wanted to share with some responses that we heard. It was 40 or so people who participated in Imagine AsiaTown actually shared what kind of actions they want to take or gifts that they want to share with the community to help bring this vision to life. So we know that there's an abundance of gifts in AsiaTown and the community that's connected to AsiaTown. And it's a shared vision. So we're going to share responsibility and accountability to actually make this vision and the values realized. So here are just, it's a snapshot of some of the things that people said they would be willing to do or share in order to help AsiaTown move towards this vision. And we wanted to take a moment to ask all of you, look, based on this list, what kind of actions are you interested in taking or gifts you might be willing to share to step towards this future that we've defined that we want AsiaTown to have. So feel free to select any or all that that you'd be interested in just right now based on your gut feeling. And we'll just take a look at, what kind of participation and what kind of gifts people are interested in giving to the community. While people are doing that, I also want to mention, this tool. It's it's interesting that the dumpling competition seems to be hitting on like a ton of the vision themes and the elements underneath each theme. But that's not going to be the case for every project, right? So in those cases, it's still helpful to have clarity that, this project is really good for, these two themes, but maybe not so much for the others. It's a great shared vocabulary to talk about how different projects align. And we have 10 people who voted so far. So thank you to those 10. If anyone else can put in their responses, I'll give a few more seconds for that. And thanks to Joyce and Jordan and Maggie for your comments in the chat. It's a great tool to beef up ideas, make sure they're as intentional as possible. Karis said, I love hearing how it could support so many parts of the community. Joyce said, the tool shows us it's important to think about activities intentionally to ensure it achieves the goals of the community and encouraging creative ideas while still keeping in mind the vision. Okay, we're gonna end the poll now and share the results. So looks like people are willing to help and people are willing to contribute. So this, matches up with what we saw over the past few months with the Imagine AsiaTown process. People just being very generous and wanting to do whatever they can to support bringing this vision to life. So thank you so much, everyone, for giving your gifts and offerings. All right, I think we are ready to wrap up and go on to the next steps. So there's a slide that we'll share here, and I'll pass it to Karis.
Sure. So thank you everyone so much for joining us tonight. I know it's 6 o'clock, so I really appreciate you being on for this evening. But just to wrap up, just wanted to leave our contact information. We hope that this is engaging and that you are seeing yourself in some of this vision and ways that you can engage. So please don't ever hesitate to reach out to us. Shinyan and I, our contact info is here. And we also just wanted to share a couple things coming up. So we are continuing to do a socially distanced square dancing in the parking lot. Xinyuan just picked up face shields for participants today. That is capped in registration and prioritized for residents in the neighborhood. So if you would like to participate, please feel free to reach out to Xinyuan. I believe they're doing 2 sessions so that they can keep it to groups under 10 on Saturday and Sunday. Is that right, Xinyuan? We can, and then we are going to, and also we're doing a couple civic engagement tables just to keep people engaged in this plan. So we will be keeping you updated on what that is. Just some last next step, we will be publishing the final report. We'll be posting it on the website, and I can share it out to you as well if we have your email. Just so you can kind of see the final vision and how your stories were incorporated. And our plan going forward is over the next year to have a couple updates, so almost like progress reports to say what we've been doing and how they align with the plan, and to invite you in to see how you can participate as well. Lastly, I just wanted to say thank you so much to the team, to Tessa and Argerie and Lisa, who have put so much into this project, holding our stories with so much care over the last few months. And to all of you, everyone on this call has contributed your stories and reflections and values in some way to this plan, and we are so, so grateful for that. I think I'll release us and stop recording and just let people go, as I know it's after 6, and I know I'm sure people are very hungry. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. I will also look at some of these questions in the chat. And